Hi guys, welcome to another episode of First Chapter Fridays. I'm excited to share another great book with you guys. It is 9/11 coming up, so in kind of honor and memoriam of that tragic event in our history, we are going to read one that is centered around that. So it will be kind of a sensitive subject. I'm sure part of it will be sad, little depressive, just because of the content. So the book I'm sharing with you is called 9/10. A September 11th story by Nora Rayleigh Baskin. And so 9, 10, 11. So what it's going to do is it's setting up kind of the days before it. It gives you a little bit of what's going on in the story before it for a couple of days, and then it will lead into the actual day of the event. I'm not going to read the full first chapter because it is like 20 pages, but we will read kind of the first portion to give you guys an idea of what, like, if you guys would like this book. Obviously, you know what it's about because of the content, but whether you know it's a fit for you. So, everyone will mention the same thing, and if they don't, when you ask them, they will remember. It was a perfect day. More than 8 million people living in New York City that year, so of course, not everyone's day started perfectly. There was excitement and pain, anxiety and boredom, love and loneliness, anger and joy. But everyone who looked up that morning must have marveled, whether noting it out loud or not. What a perfect day. The sky was robin's egg blue. There were one or two fluffy, almost decorative clouds. It was late summer warm, so the air was still and clear, not the least bit humid. Warm the exact way you would set the temperature of the earth, if you could. Clear with just enough breeze so you knew you were outside breathing fresh air. People would remember that day with all sorts of adjectives. Serene, lovely, cheerful, invigorating, peaceful, quiet, astounding, crystalline, blue. Perfect. Until 8:46 a.m., when the first plane struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center, and nothing would ever be the same again. But that has not happened yet. 9/9. And so it has like a little divider here with the date. 2 days before the event. September 9th, 2001. 7:46 a.m. Central Time, O'Hare International Airport. It was September 9, 2001, raining in that Chicago slow drizzle sort of way. Outside the windows of O'Hare International Airport, the sky was painted a particular shade of gray, and leaving droplets of water on the large glass windows that looked out onto the airstrip. Sergio and another boy from New York were at the gate early for their flight home. Their university escort was sitting, eyes closed, listening to his discman, waiting for the boys to board so she could go home. What was the other boy's name? Sergio couldn't remember. L something or M something. For 2 days, Sergio had recognized him as simply the white boy with red hair. Let's go see what's in the candy shop. The red-headed boy pointed to the newsstand, which was filled with everything anyone could possibly think of needing before getting onto a plane. Newspapers, magazines, headrests, paperback novels, earphones, small suitcases, cold drinks, and lots of candy. Sergio glanced over at the escort, who didn't look up. She didn't even open her eyes. Okay, Sergio said. He took one more glance around to make sure they could find their way back to their gate. Everything in the airport appeared the same. Every corner, every window, every set of plastic seats, every gate. It would be easy to get lost. Sergio made sure he would not. Then he checked the information on the board again. Flight 563 JFK. On time. Gate 10. His grandmother would be getting up right about now. It was Sunday. Her one day to sleep in. But she was probably up already making coffee, knowing Sergio would be home in a few hours. Sergio didn't realize how homesick he was. He had been. The whole time, until just then when he started thinking about his grandmother. It was the first time he had ever been away from home, and he'd only agreed to go at all because his grandma was so proud of him. 5 kids from New York State had been chosen to be honored at this ceremony at the University of Chicago, all based on one math test they had taken at the end of last year. And for that, Sergio had been flown to Chicago, put up in a hotel, and given 3 meals a day. And when they had called his name, his full name, Sergio Kincaid Williams, he had walked across the gigantic stage of the Court Theater and received his plaque, which was now weighing down his carry-on bag as he perused the newsstand. Kincaid was his father's last name. Of his father, that was pretty much all he wanted to know. You getting anything to eat? The red-headed boy asked when they got into the checkout line. Sergio slipped his hand into his jean pockets to fill the $20 bill his grandmother had given him 3 days ago. He didn't want to break it if he didn't have to. Don't they give us lunch or breakfast or something on the plane? Yeah, but they won't give us Kit Kat bars. The boy with the red hair put 2 candy bars on the counter. Sergio shook his head. Nah, I'm good. They finished checking out, and the boy handed Sergio one of the Kit Kats. I hate to eat alone, he said. Thanks. Sergio took the candy. He wasn't expecting that. It was nice. The red-headed boy began to unwrap his candy, then stopped. He appeared to be more interested in something across the store. That is so weird, isn't it? He said. He pointed. What's she got on her head? Sergio tried to figure out what the boy was talking about, but didn't see anything. What's weird? Who? Her. The boy gestured across the news shop to a girl with her back toward them, facing a full wall of magazines. She was wearing regular clothes, jeans, and a sweater, but her head was wrapped in a shawl, a thin brown veil. Sergio knew what that meant. She was Muslim. There were a lot of Muslim girls in his neighborhood and in his school, but this kid had probably never seen anyone dressed like that. He was from way upstate New York somewhere. At that moment, the girl turned toward them as if she had heard them talking. Her headscarf completely covered her head and neck, all the way down to her shoulders. Like a child's drawing, her pale face was floating in a sea of brown fabric. Her lips pressed together, her brow furrowed. Her eyes were blue, like the Mediterranean Sea. Hey man, let's go, Sergio said. It was so not cool to stare. Nahid was used to it, being looked at. She was used to people asking if she was wearing a costume or saying, I didn't know you were Arab. Can you belly dance? Do you believe in God? Do you really not eat for a month? She wasn't Arab, she was Middle Eastern. Well, she was American, born 12 years ago in Columbus, Ohio, and she had never lived anywhere else. She had never once been to Iran, where her Persian mother and father had grown up. She couldn't belly dance either, but she was used to people staring as soon as she left her house, her neighborhood, her school, her friends, and was out in public as she was here in O'Hare Airport waiting for her uncle and aunt to arrive. Their flight hadn't come in yet. Nahid's family could have just waited outside for Uncle Iman and Aunt Judith to go through security and baggage, but her dad wanted to be right at the gate when his brother got off the plane, so they had gotten to the airport early. Really early. They had already had snacks, gone to the bathroom, and wandered through all the gift shops, and Uncle Iman's plane was still not here. Why don't you get yourself a magazine? Nahid's father offered. One I would approve of, he quickly added. Nahid gazed at the display wall. There were hundreds of magazines, all with exciting, colorful covers, pretty girls, beautiful clothing, and lots of bare skin. But there wasn't one magazine on this wall her father would let her buy. The girls with their hair blowing freely all around their heads like someone had a fan right in their faces, their bare arms showing even though they were advertising winter fashions. Nahid knew it was immodest. A girl does not need to flaunt her beauty to the world, her mother had told her many times. Real beauty is inside, and the right boy will see that. Nahid decided she didn't need anything after all. She turned to head back to her family. Only now were people everywhere, filling the news shop, heading in all directions, strolling, rushing, dragging children in bags. But nowhere did she see her mother's or father's or little sister's familiar face. Her father had been standing right there a minute ago, hadn't he? And we are going to stop right there. And so that is 9/10, a September 11th story. If you want to see what happens next and are interested in the story, feel free to come by and check it out, or send me an email and I can place it on hold for you. The first one that responds or comes by, emails me or whatever, you guys will be the one that will get this prize. 9/10. Again, it's not for checkouts, not for to take home. Not a prize like that, but the prize to get to read it next.